live. What's going on, everyone? Thank you all so much for tuning in at this time. Everybody that's here, greatly appreciate it. Anybody watching on the replay, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, what a wild day. First off, since the NBA Finals just ended, let's talk about that, and we'll pivot to the Kevin Durant trade and then answer all the questions and all that stuff. But first off, look, congratulations to Oklahoma, right? I mean, they're the best team all season. A hard fought series. This is what we wanted, was just good basketball, good hard fought basketball. When the Indiana Pacers made it to the NBA Finals, that was the thing, right? Like, can we just get a good series? Does not be something where OKC just kind of runs through them in 5 games or something like that, and it's just like, can this be a legitimate series? Can this be a hard fought game and matchup? And I thought they did a really good job with that. Obviously, what does this game look like if Tyrese Halliburton doesn't get hurt? He ruptures his Achilles. Sucks, right? It does. It sucks, and I mean, what do you do, right? Like, yeah, I mean, you could argue he shouldn't have played and all that stuff, but it's like, it's the NBA Finals. It's why you're there, right? You might never have another chance. You might never get back here. And it's one of those things that are just very unfortunate. You never want to see that, right? Like, is this a different game if he doesn't get hurt, right? I mean, he was hot, 3 or 4 from 3 to start the game. Was looking aggressive, looking to, insert himself early. Would that have changed the outcome of this game? I mean, it's very possible it didn't. It's very possible that, this game is a essential blowout, in the second half like it was. But there's also a very good chance where this was a lot closer than it looked. Look, it's not one of those things. If you're familiar with me, I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, it doesn't count because no. Look, it's Oklahoma City's job to show up and play and beat whoever's in front of them. Right? It is frustrating because it's just like, what happens if Halliburton ends up being healthy and okay, right? Does the outcome change? It's very possible it didn't. It's very possible that, that they still pull this out. But, with the kind of run that Halliburton went on, it could have been a very different series, very different game. But in general, just, it's going to be interesting to see what do Indiana do next season, right? Because they were a team that, even if they lost this game with the healthy Tyrese, like, there's this thought of like, hey, they could be right back here, right? They're going to be, whether they win or lose, there's a very good chance they're right back here. Well, now it's like, without Tyrese Halliburton, like, I still think they're going to be a good basketball team, but I don't think that they're going to be a real title contender. So, what do they do with guys like Miles Turner? I mean, Miles Turner was terrible this series, right? Like, unplayably bad in a lot of ways. Was it just a bad matchup, or was it just, did he cost himself a bunch of money? Right? Like, all of these things are going to start to rear its head a little bit this offseason. They're going to have to make a real decision. Do they do kind of like what the Boston Celtics are doing, which is like, hey, let's just kind of tear it down, kind of have that hiatus year, or at least what Boston appears to be trying to do. I should probably put it like that, where, they're trying to trade Drew Holiday. They're fielding offers on basically everybody. Do they just kind of pack it up and just, does Indiana kind of do the same thing where it's like, hey, let's get what we can for guys and then kind of retool this in a year or two when Tyrese Halliburton is back and healthy, right? I mean, that could be an option for them, but it's such a bummer, right? Luckily, Halliburton's young still, right? He's 25, so miss a year, come back, he'll be 26, 27. Like, so there's still be plenty of time for him, basketball wise, and for him to potentially get back here. But it's one of those things you never want to see. You never want to see it go down in that way, in that manner. But as far as OKC goes, they won, right? Like, congratulations. They deserve it. Like, genuinely. It's not, again, it's not their job to, this guy gets hurt or that guy. Like, their job is to play the game, play whoever plays them. And, they asserted their dominance on the defensive side of this game. Again, like, if Halliburton plays, do they have as many turnovers and stuff? So is this a closer game? Because, the turnovers were wild, right? Like, I mean, but that's also what this team does. It's also what this OKC team does. right? I mean, they're great defense. They just get after it and scrap and just scratch and claw and you look at this team. They had what? They had 21 turnovers. I think it was 22. I remember the announcer saying that was like their 22nd turnover, but NBA.com says 21. So, you're not winning very many games like that way, right? You're not winning very many games when you're giving up, 21 turnovers. They took 87 shots to 70. So OKC got 14 more shots. I mean, that's your game. Literally, that's your ball game right there. So it's one of those things where it's like, you gotta just figure out what to do this offseason, right? What's the direction? What's your play? What's your plan? Do you kind of trade everybody and figure it out, retool when Halliburton is healthy again, or do you kind of just stay the course? And the problem is, it's like he got hurt now, so he's very likely missing all of next season, right? I'd be a little shocked if it was one of those things where he's able to come back, with 20 games left in the season or something like that, but it's unfortunate. You hate to see it, but to OKC, right? They get their first franchise championship. I know Seattle won championship, but again, this is OKC. This isn't Seattle, and Seattle's supposed to be getting their own franchise back again soon, and so they're going to carry over their title. So this is the OKC's first, and historical season for SGA, historical season for Oklahoma City. So again, they deserve a ton of credit. Obviously, I imagine a lot of this is probably going to get overshadowed by the Halliburton Halliburton injury, and then the Kevin Durant trade. But again, you give them a fair opportunity and congratulate them, to tip your hat. As far as the Kevin Durant trade goes, moving into that, and then like I said, we'll jump into the chat here. As far as the Kevin Durant trade goes, I mean, look, Houston, for those that aren't familiar, Houston traded Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green, the number 10 pick, and 5 second-round picks. Basically traded. Not peanuts, because Jalen Green is still very young, very talented, a little inconsistent, definitely needs some work, but very talented, right? You watch games, Jalen Green, there are times where you watch him play and you're like, dude, this guy might be the best 2 guard in the league in a couple of years. And then you watch games where you're like, this guy might be out of the league in a couple of years, right? It's just like, he's just so hot and cold. And then Dylan Brooks gives him a guy that adds some toughness, right? A guy that can slot in basically 2 through 3. Somebody that they really could use as far as just a versatile defensive wing, like 3-and-D wing. There's talks about them potentially looking to trade Green, but there have been some reports that say that they're not going to trade Green. There's been talks about them trading Dylan Brooks. We'll see. According to Brian Windhorst, they're more likely to trade Dylan Brooks than Jalen Green, but you never know, right? They get the right offer. I don't think Jalen Green makes sense for the Suns, though. That's the problem, right? There's all this talks about, Devin Booker and Jalen Green in the backcourt. They were saying the same stuff about Bradley Beal and Devin Booker in the backcourt. It doesn't work. Jalen Green is a 2 guard. Bradley Beal is a 2 guard. And I don't care how many different 2 guards you get, and you could cycle through every 2 guard in the league. Doesn't matter. Like, you need balance. You need playmaking. You need guys that can play multiple positions. You need guys that can do multiple things out there on the basketball court, right? It's not as simple as just like put 5 scorers on the court and you'll win some games, right? That's what Phoenix already tried to do in the last go around, and it didn't work, right? Look at Sacramento. Sacramento's trying to do the same thing. Just basically forget defense. Let's just go all offense. It doesn't work. You need to have balance, right? You can be this ultra efficient offense, yes, but you have to at least be serviceable defensively. So I don't really get the package for the Suns. I want to be patient and wait and see, like, what else do they do? What other moves do they make, if any? But as far as Houston side of things go, this is huge for them, right? But in my opinion, they got to make another move, right? In my opinion, they're all in at this point. You don't go trade for a 37-year-old Kevin Durant to not be all in. You're all in at this point. You can't give it 2-3 years for guys to develop and figure stuff out, and then at that point he's retired, right? So to me, I think keep an eye out on Houston potentially making another big move, big splash, big trade. Not saying it's necessarily a superstar. Rich Paul talked about maybe Giannis, and he kind of talked about this like a couple months ago, kind of just like, hey, Giannis and KD teaming up. Well, Houston could potentially do that. So we'll see if they end up making another big player, or they end up making another big splash. However, what does Kevin Durant do for Houston is kind of the question. I definitely think Houston's going to be better with Kevin Durant, without a doubt. But I don't know how much better, right? Like, they'll definitely be more consistent, particularly on the offense side of things, have a better closer, right? Bucket getter. But Kevin Durant still has to be, like, he has to be great offensively for them. Otherwise, they're still going to have trouble scoring the basketball. And, you're losing production to Dylan Brooks, who was really good for them, and Jalen Green, who, had moments of brilliance. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of all unfolds and plays out. But, time will tell. Anyway, let's get into the chat here. Just kind of wanted to run through that. I'm sure there's going to be questions about that and all that stuff. So we'll get through all that real quick. Hit that like button for me. Hit that subscribe button for me. And let's jump into it. So Thunder don't deserve any credit. That Halliburton injury makes me so mad, especially for him, and it killed the Pacers' chances. Just absolutely sucks, man's prayer up to Hallie. Or here, I'll finish this other comment. Seeing his emotion on the court almost made me cry for him. I feel that. I got teary-eyed a bit just seeing the passion he had, and he knew he was done. I guarantee you Indy wins if he was playing. So, look, I disagree. I mean, look, Thunder do deserve credit. Again, it's not the Thunder's job to control injuries for another team, right? It sucks. It's part of the game. It's very unfortunate. You hate to see it. It's incredibly frustrating because I think this would have been a very different game. I think this would have been I think Indiana would have had a very good shot of winning this, but there's no guarantee that they would have won it for sure, right? Like, I do think that the chances are far greater with him than without him, especially with him looking like his 3-point shot was falling, right? How clutch he's been down the stretch throughout the playoffs and whatnot. But, as far as like Halliburton and his emotion, yeah, I mean, that was a gut wrench, right? You could see it, and he said, you could see him mouthing that, like, it happened, like, it's just it sucks. It really does, because it's just like, man, like he had such an incredible run, and it's unfortunate. We just got robbed of fantastic games. I agree. I think it would have been much closer. I think it would have been much tighter, and I think there is a very good chance that Indiana wins. I think there's a very good chance that Indiana wins. And even if they don't win, I think it's a lot closer than it was, right? This is why I wanted Halliburton not to get injured, because people like you are going to come up with excuses why OKC won. Hope the narrative. Wait, mate, what are you talking about? Not you. I didn't mean. Oh, not me. Oh, okay, not like me specific. Okay, I was like, what? What do you mean? I literally just said. On several occasions, but okay, that makes sense. Lakers better take notes. I need banner 18. Yeah, look, Lakers got their work cut out from this offseason, right? You got a Western Conference that is going to be gearing up, right? And Kevin Durant going to Houston is probably going to signal some other trades, some other moves, things like that. So that's going to be very interesting. SGA, of course, won Finals MVP. You knew that was coming. Just got the notification. Well, I didn't just get it, but as an LA fan, if Tyrese plays, Pacers win. I think there's a very good chance. Again, it's one of those things, like, never saying, I don't want to like be like, oh, guarantee that they win, but I think there is a very, very good chance that happens. Besides the injury, Indy lose because of TJ. He had those 2 turnovers that led to 3 threes. He absolutely sold this game. I mean, yeah, but you could argue, I mean, TJ McConnell single-handedly saved, like, keeping him in the game in the third quarter. Like, yeah, he had some bad turnovers, but I mean, they literally could not, no one could score the basketball other than TJ McConnell, right? Like, he had 14 straight points for them. Like, no one had scored in like over 10 minutes besides TJ. And other guys took shots. So, Pacers have no chance going back to the NBA Finals with Or I'm assuming without Halliburton. Yeah, I agree. I don't think that happens. Um, I'm devastated. My spelling, the way the season ended is just sad. Yeah, because it is. It's just, look, if OKC wins the title and Halliburton's healthy, and he just wins it, then it's fine. It just, the thing is, people are going to put an asterisk on it, which again, I'm not one of those people that really believe in asterisks, right? Like again, OKC, right? They won 3 games leading into that game. Would that have been a different game? Sure. But again, it's not their job. Their job isn't to make sure that Halliburton, like, hey, let's take a week off just to make sure Halliburton's like, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately, as much as we'd all love it. But again, you just never want to see that. I wonder how the Halliburton injury changes the scenery for the league. Hot take: OKC winning the title is bad for the league. I'd love to hear your reasoning as to why you think OKC winning the title is bad for the league. If anything, I mean, I think it's everything the league wants right now. Like literally everything the league wants right now. That priority in the league, right? Like having different teams win every year, a young small market team finally getting over the hump, right? Like, I am curious. Like, so I think teams like Orlando and some of these other teams are going to gear up and work even harder, right? Because you're going to have teams now that are going to look at it as like, okay, Indiana's out of the picture, Boston's out of the picture. So it's Cavs, it's Knicks, and potentially Orlando, right? So, I mean, if you're Miami, you got to be kicking yourself. Like, man, maybe we should have went and traded for Kevin Durant, right? Like, I mean, the East was already wide open. I think it's even more wide open now. Please no Jalen Green to the Lakers. Again, to me, it just depends on like what you give up, right? Like if you could essentially turn Jalen Green and like take your expiring contracts and go get Jalen Green, be hard to say no to that. You're talking about again a 23-year-old, like I mean the guy when he's on, man, that guy is otherworldly. I wouldn't give up assets for like if you had to go and give up a first and all that, no, but I wouldn't like if they were able like if Suns were like, hey, we don't want Jalen Green, but we'll take like a Rui, Maxi Kleba, and Gabe Vincent, right? Something like that. It'd be kind of hard to say no to that. Because again, he's a 23-year-old kid, right? And I mean, you can make an argument that he's the third best player behind. I know people are going to say Austin Reeves and stuff, but Jalen Green is more athletic, better defender, and better just gifted scorer. He's just inconsistent. Right. If he can find that level of consistency, Austin Reeves is a better playmaker for sure. I think Austin Reeves is more crafty too. But you could also, if you got a Jalen Green, also look to turn Austin Reeves into those other pieces and have like a Jalen Green slotted alongside a Luka Doncic, turn Austin Reeves into like a legit 3-and-D guy, go trade the other guys you have left to go get that center. And, now you could potentially be in business. But I don't think it would happen. I don't think it's something the Lakers would even necessarily be interested in. But if you could get it for basically free, I wouldn't be shocked if that ends up happening. Let's see. As sad as I am for Hallie and the Pacers, Thunder should get their credit. But those refs really need to stop, bro. It's serious. And dude, look, absolutely. Thunder need to get their credit, but man, it's just again they got to do like either let them play or don't, right? Like they need honestly like once you get to the playoffs, and I understand it is more physical and stuff like that. They are better in the playoffs than in some of these regular season games. As somebody that watches a lot of regular season games, right? Because do this for a living, but honestly, I think the refs need to stay out of it unless it's something just like insanely blatant. Stay out of it. Right, let these guys play. Let them figure it out. If it's a little, knick-knack foul, if somebody gets like wrapped up or just like pulled or something, well, then yeah, blow the whistle. But like all this discretionary stuff, it's just because again, it's just that it's discretionary. So these refs are you're judging on the eye test and all this other stuff, and it's just the reason I hate OKC is because people overhype them so much. Same with Shea. He's good, but stop calling him Jordan or Kobe. It's annoying, and he's a flopper. Yeah, he's definitely no Jordan or Kobe. Look, OKC was the best team in the league all season, right? Like, and Shea was, my opinion, second best player in the league all season. I think Jokic is still the best player in the league. But SGA, look, they had a great run. They really did. I mean, I don't think that they're one of the greatest teams ever, right? I just think, they're a young, athletic team that is very talented, very gifted. But I mean, look, they were the best team all season and they won the championship, right? Like, it's kind of hard to be like, oh, it is what it is. It's who they are. At this point, it's a 50-50 chance you snap or tear your Achilles after suffering a calf strain during the finals. Would you take the risk with that knowledge? Castrate. So if you're in the finals, yes. Because again, you might never get there again for the rest of your career. Unless you're somebody like a LeBron, right? Like if I was LeBron, not 40-year-old LeBron, I'm talking about if I was 27-year-old LeBron, probably. Because if you're LeBron, you're like, I'll probably be back here, right? But in the case of a Tyrese Halliburton, right, might never get back there again. It's just, I think it depends on the circumstances, but these guys are competitors. These guys are players, right? Like, these guys want to play. They want to be on the court. They need to be, right? It's the definition of leaving it all on the court. Literally. It sucks. It's so unfortunate. But that's what it is. That's what it's about. Like, if you were ever going to take the risk, you do it in the finals. And this was game 7 of the finals. He was playing through it, for a good majority of that series. Right? Like, what is he going to do? Just sit out game 7? Like, I just don't think you can. It's just, if you're going to do it, the finals is a good opportunity to do it. This is OKC's only ring. They will never get back there again. It's very possible. Especially how crazy the Western Conference is. There is something that I hate about the Thunder. Maybe just a hate for the really good teams and prefer the Thunder. Yeah, there's always that sense. Like, I think a lot of it was the Pacers story, right? We all kind of fell in love with the Pacers story and just the all-time great run. And then it's like they force a game 7 and it's like, if it was just a normal series and it just like Indiana just hard fought, got there, Thunder hard fought, got there, and it was just like a normal, but it was just like you followed this epic journey and quest with the Indiana Pacers and all these game winners and Tyrese Halliburton becoming like America's sweetheart in a lot of ways. And it's just like, I think it was one of those things that it kind of just built, right? And then I think it just kind of culminated into this point where it was like, everybody was like, man, we really, anybody that wasn't a Thunder fan, we're all like, man, I'd love to see the Pacers kind of do this thing, right? Like, so, it says Tyrese met his team at the tunnel. Why do people create narratives when teams win a championship against teams, best players, and lose? You get that with everybody. If your team wins, it's well deserved. If your team doesn't win, it's because of X, Y, and Z. You can make a million excuses and reasons as to why a team won what they won. You could argue if Denver wasn't hurt, right? Like OKC might not even been there, right? Like, there's people like to just, it's fandom, right? It happens with everything, right? I don't buy the asterisk. I think it's silly. A team won a championship, they won a championship. Again, it's not their job, right? People try to do it with every championship ever, right? Lakers bubble championship. Oh, it's silly. Let's see. Hi, as it stands, what's going on, Adam? Do you think the 2020 Lakers can beat this version? I think the 2020 Lakers dog walked this team. Like, I think the 2020 Lakers, I think I wouldn't be shocked if OKC gets swept. Lakers are just too big, too physical, too versatile. They would have had all the guards and athleticism to match up. They would have been they would have been much bigger. They had nobody to defend Anthony Davis, right? Like, Chet isn't defending Anthony Davis at the 4. Dwight Howard would have made, at that point, like that Dwight Howard would have made Isaiah Hartenstein hold his pocket, right? Like, that would have been crazy. as far like so the Miles Turner thing, like I don't like he was like don't get me wrong, he was straight booty. But one, was it just a bad matchup because OKC was going small? Two, right, like he was kind of just floating there. Right? It's different. Like some of these other rounds, particularly in the East, he was actually involved in the action. Right? Like in this series in particular, he was kind of just there, right? Like he wasn't involved in the action the way he was in some of these other series, right? Like the Knicks series, he was heavily involved in the action and was huge, right? Do you think at some point Curry is leaving the Warriors? Nah, I think he'll end up retiring. If they didn't get Jimmy Butler, I wouldn't have been shocked, right? But now that they got Jimmy Butler, I think that's it. I think he'll retire there. I don't want Jalen Green on the Lakers, please. In that backcourt with Luka would be nasty defensively, horrible. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it just depends on you get them for free. It's kind of hard to say no. My reasoning for the take: OKC is a great team, but they don't bring in casuals. The Pacers are fun to watch, and OKC winning is equivalent to Tim Duncan Spurs. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, that's fair. You know, like the casual fans probably not rooting for a team like OKC, but as far as like like I said, the parity in the league, I think that this is good. Like this is exactly what the CBA was for, right? Having every year a different team winning. So I have a video already recorded and finished in the morning about Bradley Beal. So yeah, there was a report that Bradley Beal might get cut or not cut, but bought out, that he might either get bought out and they're looking to trade him. So the video I talk about, like if he gets bought out, I really wouldn't. I wouldn't hate bringing him in on, like a taxpayer mid-level, because I don't think you'll be able to get him on a vet minimum. But if you can get him on like a taxpayer mid-level, I wouldn't hate something like that, right? He'd be cheap for like 2 years. Right? And I mean, he would solve all of your bench issues if you wanted to. Again, now you can trade Austin Reeves. And I think Bradley Beal is a victim of circumstance. Right? Like, I think Bradley Beal is still a 23-5-5 guy. I just think he's on a team where he's the odd man out and just doesn't fit and makes zero sense. Right? So I think if you can get him on the right price, I would absolutely love to have Bradley Beal. But him on $60 million. The other like back half of the video, I talked about like, would you take Bradley Beal if you could get the number 10 pick and a future pick, right? If they were like, hey, we want to get off of Bradley Beal, they were willing to give you the number 10 pick and another pick, would you go trade for Bradley Beal? But I'll save that for you guys tomorrow. You guys can check out that video on As It Stands Lakers. Bradley Beal is too expensive to be cut. Don't be surprised. Matt Ishbia, not afraid to spend. He's got 2 years on it, because they would have to pay him for the player option, but I wouldn't be shocked if they end up doing that. I'd rather have Jalen Green than Austin. I'll agree. Yeah, I would rather have Jalen Green than Austin too. Can you imagine KD wanting out if the Rockets somehow miss the playoffs for the next 3 years? At that point, he's probably retiring. Dude, if TJ McCollum was athletic, he might be the best player in the league. I think OKC will be okay with dealing with Halliburton. Asterisk, you won a championship because Halliburton got injured. OKC, you damn right we did. Exactly. It's like, it's silly. Where's the hat? I mean, I'm not on my Laker channel, so I try to like keep it neutral, right? Because again, it's just general NBA teams, and I want people to have free range and be able to talk about all teams and stuff. If I'm showing my bias, it doesn't look as good. I might actually do a Lakers stream too tonight. If not, then I'll do one tomorrow for sure. 2026 NBA West Conference Finals Game 7 with 7 seconds left, coming down to the wire. Luka hits the 3 to send the Lakers to the finals and sends OKC home. Rob gets the title contender now. You better be cooking. I sure hope he is. It's crazy, all these Achilles tears. Seriously, it's happening a lot. I mean, you had 3 in these playoffs. We're in the East, and players all wore number 0 as wild. Oh yeah, Tatum, Dame, and yeah, you're right. I read a comment from Knicks fans saying basically nothing stands in their way next season. No Boston, no Indy. In theory, yes, if you're the Knicks, but no, don't sleep on the Cavs. Right? Look, Knicks were built to beat Boston, and to their credit, they did. I don't think that they beat the Cavs. Like if they played the Cavs, like they were matched up perfectly for Boston. They were not matched up perfectly for the Cavs. I don't think that I don't think like because the Cavs are all guard play, right? Like, and they don't have the guard. They got the big, physical, sizable, versatile wings to be able to match up against Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, right? Like Cleveland's not the same team. I think if anybody's going to make it out, I think it's probably Cleveland. It was this close to being an Oscar-winning Disney movie FX. Are the Lakers going to do something in the draft? I wouldn't be surprised if they make a trade, right? Like, I could see them maybe making like a little small, like minor move or trade. Thunder so good? Yes, they were. They were very good. As a Laker fan, I'm excited. We match up well against OKC. Agreed. And I know that any move we make in the offseason are to compete against OKC, but also to set us up for a post-LeBron era. Yeah, and Lakers, that's the thing. Lakers got to find that balance. Was this the youngest championship series winner? Yes, in the last like 50 years, something like that. I think I think it was like Portland back in like the 70s or whatever. I think they were like as young, or the average age was as young. But yeah, essentially in like the modern NBA, like since the merger or whatever. If Tyrese won a championship, Iowa would have been at BFX. East is wide open now. No Halliburton, Tatum, Lillard, aging Bucks. Yeah, wide open. Isley Go taking a pay cut. Yes. I think it depends on what the Lakers are able to do. If the Lakers can find a actual move that makes sense, then yes, I could see him taking a pay cut. Thoughts on Cayman Malik on Lakers trade. I don't hate it. I did a video about it. That proposed Nets trade, like 3-team Nets trade. If they can do it, I'd love it. I'd still want, you still got to go get a Clint Capella or something like that, in my opinion. Like, look, maybe Kaman is everything on paper. He's everything the Lakers need, but he'd still be a rookie, right? Like, even if he has like a Derek Lively level season, like even Derek Lively was not there in certain moments and was coming off the bench and stuff like that. So ideally, even if you do start Kaman, I'm fine with it. But I think you need a Capella or something like that. Like the last thing I'd want, unless he's just killing it. But realistically speaking, last thing I'd want is like you're in a game 7, minute left, game's tied, and you got to rely on your rookie to basically make all the right plays, do all the right moves, do everything to to get you out of this. Beal on a mid-level exception, trade Reeves, connect, and assets to fill out what you need to good to be a thing. Yes, I would do that in a heartbeat. I don't know. It depends on how bad they want to get off of. Look, they have Jalen Green, Devin Booker, and Bradley. They have to trade. They have to get rid of somebody, right? Doesn't this off season have one of the more stacked names available in the last little bit? In the sense of like the draft, or are you talking about like free agency? Doesn't this offseason have one of the more stacked names available in the last little bit? Can you elaborate a little more on that? Beal is equivalent to Gobert. If Gobert was available, I would scream for the Lakers to trade for him if he was on a reasonable contract. People forget that Gobert is talented, not just not worth the money. Yeah, exactly. Like Bradley Beal is still very good, right? He's just in a bad situation and on an even worse contract. If you get rid of that contract and you get him out of that situation, I truly believe he gets back to being a 23, 5-5 guy. Caruso was the GOAT. Happy for him. Yeah, as the Laker guy, yeah. Has face of the league energy. It's possible. The problem is he's just not like dynamic enough. You know what I mean? Like you think of all the guys that have been face of the league, they're usually like these dynamic, casual. Like Tyrese Halliburton of the casual is probably not exciting enough. Imagine Reeves talking trash about the Lakers if they do trade him. Look, if you trade him, it's fair game at that point, right? Seeing SGA better than LeBron narratives. This is why exactly. If they would have said Pascal Siakam's better than LeBron if the Pacers would have won. Next season will be crazy. The West, you'll have to have play-in teams or contenders in the East will be tanking teams in the playoffs as well. Yeah, it's crazy the opposite contrast in the NBA. Yeah, okay, there we go. Like a lot of big names available for trade. Yes, there are a lot. There's well, pretend. I mean, it depends on what you consider big names, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are kind of floating around, and I imagine there will be more as we actually get into the offseason. Now that we're officially in the offseason, do you think the Warriors will be a contender next season? They kind of have the same issue the Lakers are after a lot of the same players. I think a lot like the Warriors. I look at the Warriors the same way as the Lakers. To me, it depends on what they do. It depends on the moves that they make. It depends on, if they just kind of stay the way they are, then no, right? But if they make, a couple key moves, then yes, I absolutely think that they are a team that can be right there in that conversation. So to me, it just depends on what they end up doing and who they end up acquiring, if assuming they acquire anybody. So we'll see about that. Yeah, I'm a big Duke guy too, and Cayman is a beast. I'm still pissed Alex Caruso go. Yeah, I'm with you. Playing teams will be contenders. Lakers better be ready, yes. Especially in the East. The East is going to be wild. I'm sad there's no basketball as an NBA fan until next year. Yeah, you're going to have a couple months. I mean, we'll get Summer League, but I mean, it's not the same thing as, the actual NBA season. THT over Caruso is crazy. Yeah. Which I'm glad that we have a new owner now, so we don't have to worry about that. If only Reeves can do the fusion dance with Superman as his dance, he would be averaging 28 points per game. Well, to be fair, Austin Reeves, when LeBron doesn't play, Austin Reeves, or I guess as the second option, period, but it's usually listed as when he's the second player. Austin Reeves is actually a 28, 6, and 8 guy. So, we expecting any big trades in the next 24 hours? Honestly, probably not in the next 24 hours. I wouldn't be surprised if by the draft there are. By the draft, I could see something. I'm really excited to see what LA does. They will get a big name, big man for sure. Who's your favorite and who's most realistic? I mean, my favorite is Walker Kessler. I love Walker Kessler. I'd like to get Walker Kessler. Who's most realistic? I think it's Nick Claxton, Daniel Gafford, maybe Mark Williams again if they're willing to offer the same package as before. I'll watch the WNBA now. I don't blame you. Especially Caitlin Clark. She's amazing. But anyway, I'm just getting out of here. I'm gonna do like a 30-minute live stream over on As It Stands Lakers. Want to do a live stream on this channel because wanted to, trying to grow the sports channel too, trying to get it monetized. I need to get the watch time, watch hours. But if you can, head on over to As It Stands Lakers. I'm going to set up the stream. Give me about 10 minutes. I got to make the thumbnail and everything and set up the stream. Give me about 10 minutes, and then I will I'll meet you guys over there if you can. So hopefully I'll see you guys there. Everyone that hung out here, I really appreciate it. Seriously, thank you. On your way out, please hit the like button, hit that subscribe button here if you're not subscribed, and I'll see hopefully many of you here in a moment. If not, I will see you all.